Today I'm in sunny San Diego, California at the home of Perez. Is a seasoned brand consultant with a Fortune 500 background at top global brand consultancies including Interbrand and Siegel & Gale. Since 2011, his agency, Branding for the People, has delivered Fortune 500 level branding to thousands of entrepreneurs across over 45 different industries around the world. From startups, Inc. 500 fastest growing companies, and established multi-million-dollar businesses, Perez has done some amazing things, and today he's going to share some amazing strategies on how you can take your fitness studio to an entirely different level.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, Ree?
Hey, what's
How you
going
doing?
on, man? Yeah, good to see you.
Great to see you again. Actually, I just saw you 2 weeks ago, which is really cool. I got to see you speak at Thrive, which is one of the best conferences I've actually ever been to, and I've gone to quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And I also saw you speak at Icon, Infusionsoft's conference.
Yeah.
So I had to have you on the show because I feel like you knew more about branding than anybody I've actually ever met or seen speak about it. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the people that I work with and a lot of people that watch this show and listen to our podcast, they have a lower understanding of what branding actually means. And your perspective of it was just fantastic. So you've worked with some really great brands.
Yeah.
So really quick, just to set things off so people know exactly who you are and what you've done, tell everybody who you've worked with.
Okay, so I worked at some of the largest global branding firms. I've worked some big brands, worked on Fortune 500 brands like Xerox and Intel and AT&T and Motorola. Big companies, a lot of pharmaceutical companies, technology, financial services, at some of these big consulting firms.
Right.
That's my background. And in the past 6 years, and starting my company and my own agency, I decided to work with entrepreneurs and smaller businesses that were doing some kind of positive impact in people's lives.
Okay.
We've worked with over 50 different types of industries, some in the health and fitness industry, but across many different industries. And we're really bringing a lot of the same Fortune 500 branding best practices to small businesses and entrepreneurs.
And it's called Branding for the People.
And it's called
which is actually
Branding for the People.
A really cool name. And so everybody has everyone that I've talked to that isn't a trained professional like you, somebody that really studies the craft and takes time to understand it and look at all the different science behind what other people are doing. The average person that runs a business, they all have different understandings and they focus on different things. Some people spend a lot of time on the logo, some people spend a lot of time on the customer service, whatever it is. Tell me what your definition is of branding.
Yeah, it's always an interesting topic, particularly when I started coming into the small business space, because I'll tell people I do branding and either they'll fall into one of two camps. Either they don't understand what that is, or they'll say, oh, you do marketing, and they equate branding with marketing. And they're two distinct disciplines, and or they think logos.
Right. Graphic
so
design
or logos. And so branding is none of those things. It's not logo, it's not marketing, it's not PR, it's not advertising. And if I first start off by saying if it's not any of those things, usually people are left, well, what is it?
Right.
And I like to simplify things in how I teach and how I communicate when I'm working with people, because I want people to really understand it so they can take advantage and use what branding really is. So my three-word definition is a desired perception.
Okay.
So if brand is a desired perception, you don't own your brand.
Okay.
It resides in the minds of the people that you're communicating to.
Okay.
So therefore, branding is the process of creating and shaping and influencing the desired perception. Now, I'll give an example because I know that might sound esoteric, even to people who don't really understand branding. Think of it like Harley Davidson.
Okay.
Their business is motorcycles.
Sure.
But their brand, i.e. their desired perception, is freedom on the open road.
Okay.
So they want people to perceive them as the company that delivers this promise called freedom on the open road. Now, this is perceptual, this is intangible, it's abstract, but why should you care about that? Because 95% of all purchasing decisions is made in the subconscious.
Okay.
And that's where perception lives. It lives in the subconscious. And one of the best ways, and we'll talk more about this, of course, but one of the best ways to really build and have branding work to your advantage to grow your business or to attract more leads into your company is to work in the subconscious, is to work on the perceptual space. And people will have a perception of you whether you intend to or not. People will create a perception of you or your company.
Right.
You just want to make sure that you're doing what you can to direct or try to influence that perception that you want.
So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because like for me, anybody that's watched this show before, they recognize that I wear Nike a lot. I'm a big Nike guy.
Yeah.
I have Nike shoes, Nike pants, Nike shirt. I love
You're
Nike.
well branded.
I like for them, right?
Right.
But it's not that I have anything against Under Armour or Reebok or anything like that. I just identify myself with Nike, and I consider myself to be a very competitive person.
Okay.
And I start thinking about this, obviously in branding for my business. Why do I wear Nike? Why do I do this? And when I look at it, the most competitive people I know represent Nike, right? Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Bo Jackson. Yeah. And so maybe that's why I did it. It's subconsciously, like you're saying. And Sarah, who director of marketing, huge on Starbucks. Every day she needs her Starbucks. Period. She doesn't even like coffee. She's a tea drinker, right? But she likes Starbucks and she drinks it and she believes, we were talking about it in the car on the way here, it says something about who she is. To her, she likes even just holding the cup. Yeah. So, and Apple people are Apple people, Harley people are Harley people. So what is it that Nike did? And what is it that, because obviously Starbucks didn't use celebrities like Nike did.
That's right. Well, let's go with your example with Nike.
Sure.
Just to riff off of that, right? Because they have a tagline called "Just Do It," right? And they have the swoosh as a symbol, but that symbol represents all these different associations, values, and attributes, etc. But their brand is around winning. And it's so funny you said that you have a competitive nature, right?
Right.
So Nike's brand is about winning and performance. So they want you to perceive, their desired perception is that Nike helps me win.
I like it.
Yeah, so you probably, and they use us celebrities to help create that winning sort of perception.
They put winners on it.
Exactly. So, but that's how they've done that. They've really got clear on what their brand is about. They could have went with Nike makes me look cool, but cool wasn't going to really, it's not going to stand the test of time.
Sure.
And being able to appeal to all of their different audience segments. Right. So they went with performance and winning.
I like it.
Right.
So now what did Starbucks do? Because there's no celebrities.
There's no celebrities. In fact, Starbucks is one of those brands. I mean, they're not really selling coffee. People buy coffee, but they sell tea and so forth. But
and like basically smoothies, or I saw
there's green drinks,
chocolate and mocha and vanilla and caramel, everything, and maybe this much coffee.
Exactly. But what are they selling? They're selling a place for people to connect.
Okay.
If you really think about it. So it was only recently they started to spend money on advertising and marketing, but most of their brand building activities has been where do you think it's been? It's their baristas.
Okay.
Their employees. And why is that? Because part of the whole connection, part of the whole experience of Starbucks is based with your connection to the barista where you're placing the order. That's why a lot of them remember your name.
That's so funny. And we were just, so Sarah's smiling right now because we go in there and she's so proud. She's like,
they know her name.
They already know my order. They know her order. They know her
Yeah.
order. They know her name for sure. Yeah. They had that down probably day 2. But they know her order, which is incredible. And she loves that, right? Because that says something, it's like she feels like she's a part of the company.
That's right.
So what do they do with the baristas? What do they do differently that Coffee Bean or some other places may not do?
Well, they definitely focus on the training. They focus on the holistic approach to the experience, from the moment you walk in to when you place your order to just every single touch point up until that point.
Okay.
And obviously they want to make it an environment where you would want to stay.
Okay.
Right, so even just the music and the smell and the aroma and the seating, it's designed so that you are, that's your place to go and connect.
Right.
Originally Starbucks, their previous position used to be third place. It was like home, work, and then Starbucks.
Okay.
But a few years ago, they went through a whole rebranding process because they want to be more of a global brand now, right? And so that's great. That's why they're in every single corner, but they really expanded their brand to really be a place not just a place, but to connect people.
Okay.
And that can be connecting people around the world.
Okay. So now you got, okay, Nike, they introduce athletes.
Right.
Starbucks trained the baristas to be able to create an experience, a one-on-one experience.
Yep.
So what about Apple? I'm an Apple guy.
You're an Apple guy.
I got the
okay.
Apple Watch.
Okay.
I got the phone. I got the iPad. I got the Apple TV. I got the MacBook Pro.
So you're sold.
I'm sold. And I'm not switching because I'm too in now. I'm all in, and I like it. But what they don't have? I don't see the athletes, or I don't see anybody associating themselves. And then I don't see, like, when I go in the Apple store, I don't have that same connection. So what did they do that got me in?
Well, they did many different things, but one thing I'll highlight as it relates to what we're talking about is some of the best brands, and this is where entrepreneurs and small businesses sometimes get it wrong, is it's not just about making things look pretty. It's not about designing a beautiful website or logo, although that might be useful. But having the design and your marketing and your branding convey a very distinct personality.
Okay.
And with that comes characteristics of that personality. So you have a personality, right? If you think about people that you love and people that you hate in your life, or even just being in a network, there's people that you absolutely love and there's people that you absolutely hate, and they are made up of different characteristics. Big brands like Apple, they do that same thing. They create a persona. Because at the end of the day, we buy from companies, we buy products from companies that we trust, like, and respect.
Right.
And the company is made up of a collective of people. Now, when you can personify a company like Apple does, then you can go have an advertising campaign to help people self-select themselves out if they're a Mac or a PC.
Okay. And they did that big commercial.
They did.
Well,
exactly.
a series of commercials.
A series of commercials, and that kind of stayed with people, right? I mean, we have a branding agency. In fact, we have a new employee that recently started. I'm like, wait, is that a PC? Because as a branding agency, we're a Mac environment, right? Now, obviously, if you are an accountant, it might be more useful for you to have a PC.
But I feel like that's exactly what I saw in the commercial. I feel like there was an accountant in the commercial, and I feel like there was a designer and a free-spirited person out, like music and all that, which is the more fun thing, right, to be. Yeah. An artist versus a technical.
Type, an artist, a creative. So they've already clearly separated that you're not really a creative type person if you're, like, on a PC. Right, that's one example.
Messed up, but it's true.
Or, there's also a cool and a hip factor to it, right?
There is.
So why, and obviously Apple stands for innovation. And so, being kind of a pioneer and forefront. So you're sold on the whole Apple experience. Right. That's one thing that they do. I mean, amongst other things, simplicity of design. They never compromise on design, and we owe Steve Jobs for being able to teach people that just because you have technology doesn't mean you need to compromise on design. Right. And the simplicity of the design.
Right. And so other brands that I resonate with that I feel connect really well with me. I love Southwest. I like I like what I don't know what it is. It's more company-wise, right? It's not like I fly Southwest and I'm like, this is amazing. It's not so much of that.
It's their culture, right?
It's the culture and what I respect about the brand and the company, and then Tesla. Yeah. I think Tesla is just awesome. And there's cars that are better than Tesla and do cooler things, but Tesla is just the whole idea of it. I'm not even a car guy, but that's the one car that I love. Yeah. So what do you see? Like, what are common trends, or what are some other ways to brand outside of just what we talked about?
Well, it's interesting. I actually want to do a little example here because when we're talking about creating a persona, right? That, I said brand is like a logo, but I want to show you an example between a logo and a brand.
Okay, so you got it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it.
So I'm gonna show you a logo.
Okay.
And your singular job is to tell me what you think that company is.
Okay.
All right. All right. So here's the first one.
So for everybody listening to the podcast, this may be something good for you to go to thegsdshow.com and watch the actual video for at least this section of it.
All right. So what company is that?
FedEx. It's FedEx. Okay. It says Domino's, but it's just Pizza Hut on it. So wait, go back. All right, so that's UPS.
That's UPS.
But it says FedEx on it. Okay. Right. See what you did there. So that's Domino's.
Okay. What about this one?
That says Audi, but it's BMW.
BMW. So what's happening here is you're able to recognize visually what this brand is. Now,
Okay.
we register visuals before we register words.
Right.
So now, at first your brain saw FedEx and that's what you read, right? And you did register that, but then the visuals, your brain kind of flipped and you're like, wait a minute, that's UPS.
Right.
So you can have a logo, but is your logo standing for something? Does it symbolize something? You know, even from the beginning of time, as human beings, we create things that symbolize who we are. So this becomes like a marker for your brand that symbolizes everything that you're about. What's this one?
That's YouTube. But
That's
it says
YouTube, right?
Vimeo.
It
Yeah.
says Vimeo. So clearly we changed the name, and this is just a powerful way to say, listen, while I say brand is more than your logo, and it's not your logo, your logo can be the basis for creating a whole brand experience, a whole association, a personality, an image that in 15 seconds people can associate, immediately conjure all the ideas that you want them to have of you. And that's about how long you have. It's probably less than 10 or 15 seconds when you're looking at a website.
Right.
You know, just talking about online marketing, right?
Right.
Someone goes to your website, you have about 10, 15 seconds to capture their attention.
Wow.
So to answer your question, you know, one of the ways, of course, is to create a desired perception.
Okay.
And then having your visuals, having your language, and having the experience that you're trying to create all line up to create that perception.
Okay.
But I like to think in terms of three. So from your visual brand, your verbal brand, and then your brand experience.
So what people see,
That's right.
what people hear,
Hear or read.
hear
Think of it
read.
in terms of visuals being like the look and feel.
Okay.
You know, that could be colors.
Like what we just saw.
Like what we just saw.
Okay.
It could be colors, it could be imagery, it could be photography,
The way you take pictures.
the way you take pictures. I know we're talking about the health and fitness industry. One of the brands that I particularly like to reference a lot in this industry is Equinox Fitness.
Okay.
If everyone's not familiar with that brand, you go check out Equinox Fitness. But
Okay.
even their photography style has a very distinct look
Really?
and a certain attitude and a certain element of Equinox made me do it.
So Sam, in the editing, can you actually lay over some Equinox imagery? And so just
Yeah.
while he's laying it over, tell me a little bit about it. What is it about the imagery that stands out or makes it unique?
Well, obviously they want to attract a certain kind of person. So you can have a gym and you can have a membership. If you want a membership at a gym, you can go anywhere for that,
Okay.
right? There's lots of gyms where you can get a membership. If you want a club, in fact, they don't even call themselves a gym.
Okay.
They call themselves a fitness club.
Okay.
So remember I was talking about visuals and then verbal?
What you
Even
say.
just the verbal language that they're using is we're a fitness club, not a gym.
Okay.
And it's not about working out, it's about a lifestyle.
Okay.
So framing these languages and these cues in people's minds is another way for them to associate with you or to self-select themselves out. They're like, oh, that's my place. So the visuals, the imagery that they're using of their people, of course they're in shape, but they have a certain attitude to them, or they have a certain daringness and courageousness and boldness to them,
Okay.
where they're doing things kind of outside. And those are the people that they want to attract. They want people to actually come to their fitness club
Okay.
and use their services and be part of the community and have an active lifestyle. And they want people to challenge themselves. They want athletes, but they want avid fitness addicts, right? So those are the people they want to attract.
Right.
They're not focusing on price point. They're not focusing on cheap models,
Right.
right? And at the same time, they're also having a younger demographic too, right? So even just the types of models that you're using in your imagery.
Well, I mean, when you feel like something's perfect for you and you feel like it aligns with you 100%,
Yeah,
pricing becomes so much less important.
that's right.
You know, like this shirt costs more than what I would spend on most other shirts. You know, it was actually a silly price when you consider it's a T-shirt.
Yeah,
But I paid for it because it's
that symbol means a lot.
yeah, the symbol means a lot, and the way it has a look and a feel that goes along with it. I can get so many of the shirts that don't have that look and feel. Same thing with the pants. It
That's
has
right.
a look and a feel that I
Yeah.
really like about it. Okay, so awesome. So you said it was what they see, and what they hear or read.
What they hear or read,
What
yep.
was the third thing?
And the experience, which kind of goes back to the Starbucks example.
Okay.
And also Apple does this as well, right? they create an experience when you go into their store. It's very high touch.
Absolutely.
They want you to touch the products.
And they're all wearing it.
And they're all wearing it. So just to simplify things, because like I said at the top of the conversation, I'm really big on small businesses really understanding this in plain English. Now there's lots of fancy jargon that I can use to explain all these things, but there's the visual, what you see. There's a verbal, which is what you hear or what you read in terms of language or words and storytelling. And then there's the experience, which is how the company behaves or how you interact. Because remember, and I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, but no one remembers what you do for them. They remember how they make you feel.
Right.
And when you create a brand experience that makes people feel like they're part of your tribe or your community, or they make you just feel better about yourself, or they make you feel competitive or like you're gonna win. If they can trigger that emotional response in you, they have you. They have you for life. And that's what small businesses, that's what we all want. That's what we want to attract. We want to attract the ideal people.
Especially these fitness people. You know, I went to this Mind Body conference in California. It was a #1, fitness software. It's called Mind Body Online. And they have over 58,000 fitness studios using it around the world, right? So they have a really good amount of data that they pull from all their customers and CRMs. And it's amazing to hear that out of all their fitness studios, the average fitness studio retains 10% of their people over the course of 12 months. That was incredible to me. That was the average. The best retain 50%. Okay, so after 12 months, whoever they signed in the 1st of January will still be with them by the 1st of January next year, right? That's the best.
15%.
50. So it's much higher, right? That's the best. And then there was personal training, people that do like one-on-one personal training. They were able to, the average, not 10%, they're able to retain 30%, right? But even the best are still only able to attract 50%, so they're still the same. So it's it was interesting because I was like, okay, no matter what, the best out there in any realm of fitness are keeping people for 50%. But obviously one-on-one, you're building a relationship. There's something easier there. So what about that? What's that big swing? That what is it? 500% swing from 10 to 50%, and that is what's hurting a lot of people because they're constantly having to sell, and it's harder to get referrals from people that just started with you. It's easier to get referrals from people that have been there with you for a while. So they want not just every gym and fitness studio is proud to say, oh, I got members that have been with us for 2-3 years. Yeah, but you've been open for 5 years and you're still not at capacity. So you're losing people too. Like, let's be very real about that. So how can we create a brand? Let's put it this way. Let's say you started, new law came out, Perez, you're not allowed to do anything outside of one type of job. Let's say Donald Trump implemented this now. It'd be crazy, right? But okay, from now on, you are only allowed to own a fitness studio. You can only make your money in a fitness studio or several fitness studios. That's it. You can't own a branding company anymore. You can't be a barista. That's all you can do. Okay, so what are the first few things that you have to start getting implemented fundamentally?
From a branding perspective.
From a branding perspective in order to really kick things off and build up that cult that you want to have. And by the way, cult's not a bad thing, right? It's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's part of culture.
It's part of culture.
Some people hear that negatively.
Right, okay. So to build a cult or a tribe or a community, right? I would focus on, first I'd focus on answering the question of who, what, and why. Which is, who am I targeting? What is the problem or problems that I'm solving for them? Because every business and every brand is out to solve a problem. If you're not solving a problem, if you're not creating value for people, then you will have that kind of business. But if you're leading from a place of targeting a very specific niche or audience, solving their problem, and then being able to clearly articulate why should they listen to you, why should they become your member. I'm speaking for myself, right? Answering your question. So why would they choose me? So I would get clear on my who, what, and why. Who's the target audience? What's the problem that I'm going to uniquely solve for them? And then have a clear, compelling reason why they should choose my fitness club or my gym over or any other one.
Now, when you say niche or niche, right? I don't know which one's right. I say
Either
both.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. So when you're going that route, because there's a lot of fitness studios, they feel like they're losing out on revenue by not helping everyone with every problem, right? I want the
Sure.
weight loss, I want the athlete, I want the bodybuilder, physique person, I want the mom, I want the college girl. So what do you say to that person that wants to help everyone's problem?
You can't,
Because they
well,
know they can, they believe they can, right?
Okay, so in order to build some traction, so it depends on what stage you're in your business, right? If you want to build some traction and you want to, let's say you want to scale or you want to grow or you want to have a solid base of your culture, your tribe, or whatever the term we're going to use, is you have to have a target. That doesn't mean you can't serve everyone. That doesn't mean to say that 20% of your customers are going to fit in these other demographics or avatars. But as long as you have a target. So I believe in the 20-60. So are you familiar with the 20-60-20 rule?
No.
Right. So there's about 20% of your market population that are never going to buy from you. They're
Okay.
not your target audience. They have nothing but negative things to say about your brand.
Okay.
Can't do anything about it. Then there's 20% that are going to be your raving fans, right? On the other side, they're going to be your raving fans. They're going to absolutely love. They're going to go out and look for Nike, the Nike T-shirt. They're going to anything that you have to sell or offer them, or if
They're going to pre-order if it's coming out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then there's 60%, and this is the population where they're followers. They can swing either way. So I say first, focus on the 20%.
The 20 raving fans. Okay.
Because those are the people that are going to create your movement to bring in some of these 60%ers into your tribe,
Okay.
right? Because they have a loud voice. You want people with a loud voice to overcome the people who have nothing but negative things to say about you. But if you focus on your core 20% raving fans, those are the people that are going to help pull and allow your brand building efforts to happen even when you're not there.
Sure.
Even without your, if you want more referrals, build a tribe. And that's what I would do, is I would focus on who's that tribe that I want to really target and nurture them and take care of them and make them feel like VIP.
Like this was built for them.
Exactly.
They found their spot.
Exactly, like their home.
Right.
And so then you rinse and repeat that. You get more of them and you build more community of those people. Now here's the thing, you have to be willing to turn down a potential member. Like I would be willing to say, listen, you're not the right fit for our club. So this is speaking to that.
That's hard to do for some people. I've learned the value in doing it,
Right.
but it was hard for me in the beginning. And then once we went and really just niche in fitness marketing, it was amazing of all the things how great it felt to be able to say no. And I've gotten referrals to people I said no to because they knew somebody that actually fits my niche, right?
Yeah.
But how do you get somebody that is they don't get enough people walking in the door to be able to say no to everybody. How do
This
you get
one's
them
tough
focused?
because if you're just, if you're having to keep your lights on, right, and you need, members and so forth, like, I don't want to tell people, like, there's two responses to this question, because I don't want to tell someone that you have to turn someone down if you think that you can help them, and if you think that you can create value for them, and you think that they're a good long-term client.
But what you're
for you.
saying is it could potentially confuse the brand.
You could, yeah. And here's the thing: you want to be mindful of this is all mindset.
Sure.
It's like you have to really look at what is your brand and be true to your brand. So here's the thing: when you go through your branding process, I know we're jumping around a bit, but this is such a great conversation. When you're clear on what your brand is and what your brand is not, it even allows you to be able to identify if someone's your people or not.
Mm-hmm.
And when you create room, when you have to turn down someone, you're basically creating room for someone who is your ideal client. And I know that for some people that might be really hard to hear, because that's revenue that's out the door, but that's more energy that might be consuming. And this is where a lot of businesses get burnt
I
out.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
We've said, so even when we niched into fitness, we learned that there were people, even within fitness, that are not good fits for us.
Yeah.
Whether it's the type of fitness or
Yeah.
the type of person that's running that particular business.
Yeah.
And we will actually do what we can to get them to
Turn them down.
disqualify themselves,
Yeah.
or we disqualify them, because at the end of the day, we love knowing that when that phone rings, we're happy to answer whoever it is, right? Because it fits, everything's
Right.
fitting. What we don't like, and what nobody likes if you're running a business, is when the phone rings, you look at the caller ID and you go, oh, this guy again.
Right.
That's you shouldn't be like that.
Exactly. Particularly for small business owners, like this is your lifeblood, this is your business, this is your time. You're putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to grow your business.
Sure.
Why not fill it up with people that you absolutely would love to be around, customers and clients, employees? Like surround yourself with the people that are a direct mirror of who you are and who you want to surround yourself with.
Values and morals and all that
Exactly.
stuff. So, okay, so you got your gym, you've decided, and let's just go ahead and pretend that you've thought of a niche.
You figured it, okay.
Right, you thought of a target. So let's just pretend, I know let's skip and pretend you did a bunch of research.
That I did all that stuff. And
Yeah.
what's the one thing that I would
Like,
do?
what's an example of a niche?
What's an example of a niche?
Yeah, or target, right?
Well, I would probably, like if I was doing fitness now, obviously I'm a branding agency.
Sure,
so
sure.
I think, but I would probably target,
Well, let's say me, because I have a concept.
okay,
Let's say it's women that are wanting to get back into pre-mommy shape, right? Like
Okay.
that's
That's a specific,
something I've
yeah.
worked with. Let's say me personally, I've worked with 50 different women that have had 2-3 kids. They've already shut the lights off on that activity and no more kids,
Yeah.
right? And now they're ready to go ahead and kick it back into gear. And they heard about this place that I run that particularly does that.
Okay,
Okay, so
okay.
now it's your place now, right? And so now you want to really create this perception. Now you don't have to say what would you do, but what kind of questions would you start asking yourself to really be able to start tailoring this brand, so that if I am a woman that just had my 3rd child and I've called it a day and I'm not really excited about the way I look and I know what my potential is, I've been there before and I see my friends doing it and I see
Yeah.
celebrities doing it, what sort of questions would you be asking yourself to be able to build that brand so it's clear that this is where I need to go?
yeah. The kinds of questions I would be asking is how does this woman need to feel
Okay.
in my gym or fitness club? And I go straight to emotion.
Well, and I can't feel guilty
Okay.
because I've chosen the gym over my kids, right?
Yep.
Because my kids are at home or with the sitter.
Okay.
And I'm used to being with them all the time. I had to say
Okay.
no, had to hear them crying as I walked out the door. So there's a little bit of guilt being in here because now I'm doing this for me. I'm taking my time away from
Sure.
them. So that exists.
Okay, so there's that. But then I would also create what would be some of the barriers that I would need to help alleviate. This probably goes to what you were saying, but how do I need to make her feel? What would be some of the conditions
Okay.
that I would need to create in order for her to come in regularly and consistently? So, for example,
Okay.
if having a place for her kids to come and play
Okay.
while she's working out, I would create that.
Or certain classes where mom and kids work out together.
Exactly. I might
Okay.
I would probably do so. I like to innovate things, so I would come up with like innovative ways to get her to come in, not just collect her credit card,
Right.
not just get her to sign the membership contract, but I would find a way to get this for her to be part of this lifestyle so that she wants to come in and she can't wait till her next opportunity to come into the gym.
Okay.
Right? And then the third thing is I would look at what are some of the more creative ways that I can get her to talk about my company.
Okay.
And so this might be like creating loyalty programs, it might be creating referral programs, it might even be able to have like a bring a friend day kind of thing.
Or some sort of fun story that she could share at a barbecue.
Exactly.
Okay.
Something that will connect her, that she becomes a raving fan and tells 10 of her friends when she's hanging out at the PTA or she's like hanging out with her friends and like she's like basically becoming a brand ambassador for my
Okay.
gym. And if I just focus on those 3 things, like I know you said 1, but I think in terms of 3s.
Right.
But if I just focus on that, and again, thinking about this particular target audience, then it's like I build from there. I can build, create some momentum, and then I can think about, okay, well, is there another demographic that I can serve, or maybe not? maybe I just stick with this demographic and then scale it.
Well, the reason I asked you that question is because I knew you would answer in a way that was a lot more than just, actually you didn't even mention graphics.
Right.
You didn't even
Exactly.
mention the logo, you didn't mention graphic design or colors or none of that,
Yeah.
right? Which is what the average person thinks.
That's right.
That's what you have to do. So tell me what you think about this. So a lot of the people that we work with in fitness studios and small businesses in general out there, they are using standards as selling points, like standard expectations as selling points, and thinking it means something to the person. So for example, come in here and you'll get great results, and you'll have a great experience, and there's going to be music playing, and also everything's clean and sanitary. It's one of the healthiest places you can go to, and the coaches here are highly trained. Well, guess what? If your coaches weren't highly trained, or if your place was unsanitary, or if the customer service was shit, or if let's say people didn't get results here, well, I wouldn't not only be unimpressed, I would be dissatisfied. I would complain.
Exactly.
Right. So they're using standard expectations as a way to build a brand.
Right.
But I'm already expecting that no matter what gym I'm going
that
to.
That just gets me to become a satisfied customer.
Like
Or
I
that
just didn't
gets me at the
disqualify
door.
you from the next step of hearing your story.
That's right. That's right.
So what you're talking about is the next level.
Yeah.
Right, you're ignoring. You're not even saying.
Those are
you didn't say-
baseline. In branding
baseline.
terms, we call those table stakes.
Right.
Like, those are just par for the course. Those are table
Not
stakes.
selling points.
They're not selling
Very
points.
clear. That's not a selling
It's not a
point.
selling point.
Okay, because I see that a lot.
Right.
Okay.
It's like, okay, tell me something I don't already know
or expect.
or expect.
Right.
And so go above and beyond what the standard is. And that's why I said being innovative. But here's the thing. So the flip side to everything that I just said is making sure that you're listening, that you're always making sure that you're looking at and you're dialed into how are you making your target audiences feel. Because we buy based on emotions. So how are you making your target audiences feel? 2, that you're listening to your target audiences. Like when you said, what's the questions I would ask? Like there will be a series of questions I would ask is because you want that market intel.
Right.
That you want that data to be able to understand what is going to be of value to them. And a strong brand always listens to their target audiences. And then the third thing is being innovative and creative, like thinking outside of the box. Obviously budget constraints, like I know I mentioned the example of like creating classes with the mom and the kids, or maybe there's like a place where the kids go and play. Like, I don't know what the feasibility is of that, but I would look into that. If that's something that was of value, or if I can create that,
Right.
if that was part of my business model that served this audience, then I would totally do it. But I would do something from the place of being of service to that audience, as opposed to what's safe or what's comfortable. Does that make sense?
100%. And I love the big level thinking because honestly, I'm tired of hearing branding, and it's all logo, graphics, logo, flyers.
That's
so
like the fun. That's like the easy part, if you will.
It's the fun way to make it visual, but at the end of the day, when you start creating all those things, it comes from something that's based off what we just talked about here. It's not just, hey, what looks cool? What's a cool logo? I like the way this looks, and they use font that's like similar to Apple because they like Apple, right? So they use the nice thin font, or I like this, or I like that. I like this color.
Yeah.
It should represent what we just talked about today,
which
first.
is the brand.
Right.
So like all that stuff represents the brand. So that's the thing, is that most people jump straight into design. Most people, I would say a lot of entrepreneurs, they jump into creating their logo or their
company
design
name, the design, all that.
Nothing wrong with that. If you want to grow your business faster, or if you want to be able to attract a very specific niche and audience,
build a tribe.
Build a tribe. Take a step back and get clear on your brand, who your brand is and who it's not. It'll make all of the decision-making processes that much easier, and you can make them from a place of confidence.
Sure.
Of saying, yeah, that's our logo. Yeah, that's our marketing. Yeah, that's what that's what the photography should look like. Yeah, like all these tactical things about building a brand. That is on brand or off brand for you because you're clear on your brand.
Right.
You're clear on what's the desired perception that you're trying to create, and you're clear on what are the ways that visually, verbally, and experientially are going to ladder up to creating that desired perception. Does that make sense?
100%. And so if you guys that are watching and listening, if you're not already intrigued enough to learn a hell of a lot more like branding, about branding like I am, then you either weren't paying attention, you're multitasking during this episode, or you just don't get it yet, because this is to me one of the coolest things to learn, because your business becomes so much easier once you know who your target is, you know how to talk to them, and you can listen, and you can service them the way that they want to be serviced, and everything's just so much more fun. So with that said, not only for them, if they don't want to learn anymore, that's up to them. But me personally, let's say I wanted to learn more about what you talked about.
Sure.
Do you have like a blog, or do you have videos out there, or do you recommend a book or anything like that?
Well, obviously, I'm going to recommend a place where our website, which is brandingforthepeople.com.
Okay.
And why I specifically say that, there's a lot of books you can get at Barnes & Noble or online on branding. But here's a caveat to that, or here's my, in parentheses commentary, is that most of the branding books are inaccurate.
And why is that?
Or you would look at the purview in which those branding books, or the authors, they either come from a marketing background, a design background, a marketing background, or they've worked in-house.
Okay.
Not from a branding practitioner perspective.
Not from the deep level that we're talking about.
Exactly.
It's more on the surface stuff.
Exactly. And so, yeah, and most of them are dealing with consumer brands or big brands or Fortune 500 company brands.
Not the small business.
Exactly. And so the reason why branding for the people is like, we're taking all that big thinking, which is cool, it's awesome. I know we talked about Apple and Nike, but here's the thing. We don't have the same budget as Apple or Nike.
Right.
So what are some of the things that smaller businesses can do that can, even if they're minor shifts or dramatic shifts, what are some of the things that they can do that can
propel you to a whole
that
new
could
level?
propel you to and change the trajectory of your business?
Okay.
And solving the branding problems for small businesses is what we're geared towards, as opposed to just talking about big brand thinking that have no application or utility to a small business owner. So obviously branding for the people.
So on your site, your blog, you have articles that talk about mindset on those things and how you can make those little shifts and stuff like that?
We have there's different things that we cover in our blog posts. So obviously it's all branding, a little bit on mindset, but it's really more like expanding your thinking about branding.
Okay.
So that's one. And then we do have a host of a lot of the case studies. So yeah, we have.
And that's cool, because sometimes, my best ideas have come from hearing other people's ideas, which spark a little creativity in me of how can I do something like that for my customers.
How can you incorporate that? And
so you have a ton of case studies that goes into all that?
We have a lot of different case studies. In fact, we have a newer site that's coming out momentarily, but our newer site has like lots and lots of case studies. You can see the transformation, the before and after. But you can hear some of the write-up in terms of why we made certain decisions.
Okay.
Right. What was the brand that informed the design? And then we have videos and things for people to come check out. But that's a pretty good central resource. Get on our subscription list, on our email list. We are very clear, like with our emails that go out. It's high content, high value. We don't over promote our list. We're not like marketing to our list.
Right. I mean, I don't even care. I want the info.
Yeah,
I'm
we give the great
subscribing.
value. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Well, hey man, thanks so much. You invited me down to your home. We actually drove out to San Diego to come do this.
Thank you so much for coming.
And I don't know what the demographic, the target is for this complex, but it has to be chefs and cooks. They know who their target is, because I get smell. I'm getting smells of
hungry.
Steak and pasta. Do you guys smell all this? It's insane. I feel like I'm in a restaurant. It's incredible. So as fun and easy as this episode was to talk to you, because you're just an easy guy to talk with, and you're very articulate with what you're talking about, it was also very challenging, because I just had a 6-hour road trip eating bars. This is happening all around me. So hey man, thanks so much. It was awesome.
Thank you.
And
really
looking forward to reading your blogs.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man.
Take it easy.
Cool. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.